Hey folks, this is a big one for me today. I've got my James Brown Mexico 2005 tour shirt on, and I'm ready to show you how to play Living in America. This version is from the House of Blues Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas 1999 DVD. This features two of my favorite guitar players of all time, Mr. Ron Laster and Mr. Keith Jenkins. So what I did is I figured out both parts. Now I played in the band for 8 years myself, so I had my own part of this, but there's way extra parts that I never had to play, and my part was very simple compared to some of these other things. So we're gonna look at all these different parts. So I've got my James Brown shirt. It doesn't quite fit as well as you can see. So our first thing is we're gonna have our James Brown chord, our D7-9, the staple. We're gonna hit this like, all right, let's try that, 2, 3, and then a vamp starts. Now that vamp is like an A minor 7 chord. And we want it in the high region because we're gonna have a fill part that comes with that. So one thing you could do is go like, and hit that A minor 7 chord in the 12th fret there, and try to staccato each note. Now you could do that in a variety of places. But if you're up here, you're ready for the riff that's coming up. In case you had to kind of do it as one guitarist. So this part here just extends the chord a little bit by having that pinky down there. So we got. The other guitar player comes in with that. So it's like 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. And that little thing there will go like 7 times, and then where it would be the 8th time, you have these hits again. And then we're into the vamp. My part was this one, so I don't think I ever had to play that A minor 7 chord. That's what I did. So once again, 3, 4, and. Like I said, it's like 7 of those, and then you're. Now we have our vamp. Very Sex Machine-ish. So I'm throwing all kind of choppy extra stuff in there, using that bass note sometimes to go against the chord, create some contrast. But basically what you're doing is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's your 13 chord where you keep all these way down and you got this pinky coming back. Okay, now check this out. Ron Laster's part was to wait for the one and go. So let's take another look at that. So one guitar is going 3, 4. And the other guitar is going 3, 4, 1. It's after the 1, 3, 4, 1. So you got to do the slide twice on that last one. 3, 4, 1. And then, if you can throw that in there, 3, 4, 1. And maybe one day we can get Ron Laster and Keith Jenkins to come on here on this channel and show us how I'm wrong about their parts. Okay, when you see a video, sometimes you can see right where their hand is, and it's very helpful, of course. So let's take a look at that intro again, and we're gonna get into a thing up here where we're gonna try to do that fill thing with this chord choppy thing. So 2, 3, and. Okay, then we're into the vamp. 3, 4, 1. That's the Ron Laster part. This would be the Keith Jenkins part. Okay, so there's gonna be a vamp after the intro of 2 of those, and then you have 4 more of those for the verse. So let's check out the verse. We're gonna do the verse 4 times, and then we're gonna go to a G7, and then back to this D. 3, 4. Here goes G7, D, a couple hits. Try that again. From the G7, 3, 4. D, and a hit, G7 again. And then A7, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. Here we go. A7. Okay, now we're ready for this. F, G, D. F, G again. D7. F. This time C. B flat. Hits on this D9. Okay, let's look at that again from the F. 3, 4. C, B flat, D hits. All right, now let's talk about Ron Laster's fills around the horn lines when we get to this chorus. Okay, so that's our basic kind of vamp on that chorus to get it started. Now think about the horns, they'd be like, dee-dum, da-dum-dum. So the horns hit in that space. Now Ron would come in and he would play it like with them. So it'd be like that kind of thing. Now the second time he'd come in later. So they'd go da-da. And then he would come in after that like an answer. And then the third time he comes in quick again. And then he has this riff. So we got 10 and 13 on the B string down to this 10 on the E string. What we got here is we got see, I waited. B flat. So let's look at that last one again. We got vamp and boom. So once again, Ron Laster just killing that. Now let's look at what comes after that. So we have our vamp again. Or the other part. So let's take a look at the next part. So we're gonna have a vamp a couple times after all that, and then we're gonna be back in the verse 4 times. So this verse is gonna have a fill on like the 5th one. So let's take, or at the end of the 4th one, let's take a look at this. 3, 4. Second one. Third. Fourth. Okay, so that's like 11 on the G with 10 on the little E, and you're muting that B string in between. And you go 1 fret at a time, and it just adds a cool little fill, and he does a couple more lines of verse instead of having to go somewhere right then. So let's look at that again. Let's say we're doing the last 2 of this. 3, 4. Here we go. So you kind of wait till after that downbeat. And then you're back to the vamp. Now we have a new part. We have G7 3 times in a row. And then we're going to hit bump, 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 back on that A7 there. Then we're going to have our chorus again. So we got our Ron Laster fills. We got. And vamp. So I counted them from the Mandalay Bay House of Blues show from '99, like I was talking about, and it's 18 times of that vamp. Now, there would be things where it was a horn section thing that you knew it went a certain amount of times, but it would always be up to James Brown to decide when we moved on. So this one happened to be 18. And here's another thing. There would be a cape routine at this point. So Danny Ray, the master of ceremonies and the cape man, he would come out and bring this great cape and throw it on James Brown, and he would do a bow and all that. So the band is just vamping during all that. Right? And you'd have to wait until that cape was about to get thrown off, and he would turn around and he would give everybody a cue. And that cue would lead into that same type of riff that Ron's been playing through the song here. And actually, Stevie Ray Vaughan was the dude playing the guitar fills on the studio version of Living in America. But right there, Ron Laster goes, and he does his riff again, and it leads us into this B minor bridge. I used to just kind of do the top of it. And you want to just do something funky in there, you know. And then we're jumping up to this F sharp 9 chord to the G 9 chord here. And then we're back to the intro. And James Brown will be talking and saying names and stuff, and he's saying names of places and, you know, all kind of, he's talking about the venue, and you got to wait until he has said everything in the storyline. So on this particular recording, James Brown does this vamp, not 12, not 8, not 16, but 13 times. So he names the hotel after he has named like the venue and the town, you know, Vegas and House of Blues. He says Mandalay Bay. And then the cue is given on the 13th one. And you can see that everybody in the band is just ready for it. They know how to hit it. Ron Laster is immediately with his, right after that one hits. The drummers are right on it with a crash. Everybody knows it's coming. The singers are there. They're answering, the horn players, everybody. So we've got our last vamp. We're going to be going into the end of the song now. So we got our... And then you're waiting for that Mandalay Bay, and you're back on that D, main vamp. Now right there, a big low bass note happens, and Ron Laster gets to shoot this riff one more time. So check that out, we got... And I suppose at some point he had to stop doing that for a second. And Hey y'all, we got another James Brown lesson here. So we're going to do Papa Don't Take No Mess. We're starting out with this G7-9 chord, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10. We're going, and then we're sliding it down. And we're doing an upstroke on this part of a G chord. This is 4, 3, and 3, part of a big G, kind of, you know. So then we have a D7-9. Ba-dum, bump, down, up, up. So we got. So that's your main rhythm for that tune. So we got. Now that part basically does that the whole time. There's one other thing that'll happen. We'll go G, F, E flat, D, back to the riff. Okay, now the other part has a wah-wah on it. So it's going to go. It's going to wait till the 1, and then it comes in. So it's like 3, 4, 1. So it's 3, 3, 5, 5. That's like B flat to G. 5, 3, 5, 3, 3, 5. So 3, 4, 1. 5, 3, 5, 3, 3, 5, and then 0, 3, 0, 3, 5. And you know how the wah-wah works is you go down when you want it to be more high-pitched, and you pull back when you want it to be low-pitched. So when I'm doing that, I'm like popping it down to make it kind of shoot out that treble a bit. So wherever you want it to like pop the most is where you drop it all the way down. And when you want to bring it back and get more bass, so you pull it off of there. So you got some kind of back and forth going on. 3, 4, 1. And of course, if you don't want it going too crazy, you don't move it too much. You keep it kind of near the center, or wherever you like it sounding. But you don't always have to go too wildly crazy. 3, 4, 1. Let's get that little loop going. So Get on the Good Foot has this D minor chord top. So that's 10, 10, and 10 on the bottom 3 strings. So if you count those, it's like 1E, and a 2E, and a. So it's like the 1E of the 1 and the and a of the 2. Because if you think about right where those last 2 end, the next beat would hit. Boom. Boom. So those are the last 2 16th notes of that second beat. So 1E and a 1E and a boom. So for Get on the Good Foot, I would play that a whole lot. Now Keith's part was, and that's the G string, 2, 4, and 5. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. And then there would be a riff. There'd be like a bass riff. Sometimes the guitars could play with it too, but it'd be like a chromatic thing from this D. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then go down a string. and then it would be like a D raised 9 chord. One of the guitars would hit that note. So it'd kind of be like, I think I would probably hit that chord and Keith would hit those other notes like, and then it had a little riff. So that's D 7-9 to the D raised 9 there. So. And then eventually back to these riffs. Jam is a fun one. It's like in a G minor pentatonic. Okay, so we got the G, B flat here, C, D, F, G, up to the A, and then a D raised 9 chord. Then you got this little riff. So the first thing I'm doing is these second and third strings hammer into the 4 just on the G string. So it's like 3 and 3 hammer into this 4th fret of the G string. And then I got the F to G there on the D string. So that's 3, 4, 5, 3, 3, 5. And then you can hit all 3 of those 5s. You could just hit the 2 that are on the same strings as that one you're doing. Sounds a little more Stevie Ray Vaughan if you hit them all though. Here's a little trivia for you. What James Brown song did Stevie Ray Vaughan play some lead guitar on? Let me know. So that is basically Jam. Okay, so that's how the Big Payback gets going. You see there's 2 different kind of ways of doing it with a wah or doing it without. So what I did there with the bass thing, that's kind of the bass line, kind of 8 on the D string, 8 on the A string, to the 6 on the D string. And then this is the 2 bottom strings, the 6th fret, so you could kind of slide into it and do it more choppy if you're not doing the wah. But if you're doing the wah, you're like, that kind of thing. So once again with the wah, when you're trying to go wow, 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 when you're trying to get the more trebly sound, that's when you shoot it towards the ground and you kind of pull it away to create an effect of moving, shifting kind of sounds, right? So let's look at the next part of Payback. That's going to be. So that's 6 on the G string and 8 on the B string. So it's one of those things you just have that steady thing going. It's just some of them are hits and some of them are mutes. And see, I got these other fingers muting those other strings so I can chop them all and only hit the 2 that I really want. Now there's a wah-wah part that goes with that. It's kind of like this, like. So this is your B flat octave and the lower B flat. 6, 6, 6 hammer to the 8, back to the low root. Now this is that when you're taking a pentatonic and sliding it up in that new position, that little blues lick. So it kind of goes from that 10 and 9 to those 6s to the 8. There's a little thing where Keith would do a F raised 9 on that one. On the first set of hits, let me be back. And then some later hits, he'd be like, hit me, and be like. So it's like 8, 6, 8, 8, and then back to the riff. Also, at the beginning of the song, when you got all that stuff, there is a little bit right before it gets to that main riff where we went B flat, we did B flat minor 7, D flat, E flat, major chords. So it'd be, and then the main riff would start. So you could put those together and be like this. Hits. All right, so I'll get a little loop going where we can hear both of those things together. That's kind of the basic rhythm of it. Different versions, a lot of different things have gone on in the song, but this is kind of the basic thing. So bum ba dum bum bum ba bum bum ba dum bum bum ba bum. Of course, it takes some staccato. You got to be able to make that chord go away, and not with your right hand all the time, with your left hand as well. So sometimes you let that chord ring out, like that first one. Then all the rest of them are pretty staccato. So So after kind of a downbeat of that first part, one of the guitars can kind of sneak away and hit this riff here. We got the 10 and 12 on the D string. Typical kind of D minor pentatonic kind of lick. So we got 10 to 12 on the D string. Then we got this 10 and 10 on the B string, the G string. So you kind of 10, 12, 10. And then we're going to have this little slide with this ring finger, 12 to 13 and back. So 12s to 13s. And then 12s, 10s to the 12th fret of the D string and back to that little 10s chord. So you can't even go all three of those small strings. Like every now and again for just to make it a little different, spice it up. So let's try that. 2, 3, and. And then we're going to go to that new part. So we'll hit like one downbeat on that chord. So bum, da, bum, bum. And then we're going to start doing that. So let's try that. One hit on this chord and then up to this higher riff. 2, 3, and.